I need something to cleanse my palate out of the past 2 hours. Alright, here we go. No way, not cool. Collected Andrew Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. We just started. I was playing Dark Souls, completely randomized, and it was fucking with me. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? I can't remember what voice I used for him. Sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted the blood-covered button on your hakama. You missed nothing. You missed me struggling. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes. She is the real killer. She is the one who murdered Juan Corrida. It's been comfortable to sleep on. They're made of foam. It's foam padding, pretty much. This fucker. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time the trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Yes, Phoenix. What is the night? Huh, somehow. Oh, scratch myself somehow. Weird. You think your motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts to give her as her strength and reason to live. I know, the wrong Mia. Mia's in the wrong fucking body. And then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. I just see Tall Pearl. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get that suicide note back. Doesn't think of these things. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it who first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Mrs. Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts? It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. But it's in his hands, man. My nose. Court number 3. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? Morin. I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Engard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. Sheer dumb luck. I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. I fucking love the judge. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. How's my voice in comparison to the sound of the game? Nothing's too loud, everything's balanced right? I'm so worried about that. I changed settings and I want feedback. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I've seen Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. Every time I see it, Chavez, I'm wondering if it's feedback, but it's not, and it's making me sad. This is a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter. Or was it a bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. HawkZombie all along. How is my voice in relation to the game? I want serious feedback, please. I changed settings. No one's letting me know how it's sounding against the game right now. Because the game's a little louder than I intended, I think. I don't know. And you guys are fucking ignoring me. I fucking hate you guys. The game ain't talking. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well, then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. Okay, music's a little loud. Turn down just a little. There. Found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. Wow, that's all okay. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. I can't wait. Like past kindergarten. You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. She's accounting for it. And that was when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. By a knife? Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. Why you gotta be in that body? No. She's one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? Subjected by the murder. She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? Found the body. Look at disease, oh god. But still small grade. Okay. And what was Mr. Ungard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Ungard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room. It could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you... No, with mage. Oh my god. Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Ms. Andrews, remove Mr. Ungard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. I went to Juan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture. Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show is supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Let's further. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now. Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Ms. Enders is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. God. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. Oh, look at Phoenix being progressive. I see. White Knight confirmed. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in its chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There was no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. Criminals drink juice. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of one coroner, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? Defense more. And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I'm so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over.
Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? It's mess of glass shards?
It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add us and anything else you might have to reveal to your testimony.
I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else.
What kind of flower vase was it?
It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take Juan's pulse.
Discount Samus Aran.
God. Oh, Gummy is doing well. So I set the glass down while I was holding down onto the dresser, and that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself. That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality. Doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. I want to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. I catch her something very strong, decisive evidence. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case is wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Corn hits. God, what the fuck? Ms. Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that's true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. I love that you guys are just having this conversation about Larry's eating habits and whatever, and fuck you guys.
That's very true.
Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case.
What is that?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. Who the fuck is Gummy? The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that?
And what is wrong with that?
Oh, Gumshoe, okay. Go fucking starve. No, Gumshoe gets the fancy ramen, yes. The guitar case was open when the vase fell. The glass shards should be inside, not outside the case. Ah. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. She can't afford it.
Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case.
But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The Wright guitar was found at the studio. There's no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it?
Seems there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case?
Yes. The empty guitar case. Here goes you being cut right now. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this. What? It is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either.
All right, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh my god. I am confident tonight. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. This bullshit. This is their foreplay.
Looks like this really wasn't an important point.
That was waste. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. What? Brad. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see. Are you sure you were the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taking over.
Well, Miss Andrews?
Yes, it was me. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So, you opened the guitar case then? Yes. Well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? This Corrida's dead body was right in front of you, wasn't it? Why would you think the first thing you would do is... I would think the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. Was it really empty? I'm just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. Yeah, right. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention.
Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright.
Sorry. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now. Not let her up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. Someone in this courtroom waiting to be found. So what do we have? So there's that. So it's something about the juice, because the glass is there, but then the bottle is full and unopened. But how do I catch her up on the guitar? So let me look at the photo again. I don't see anything. Kool-Aid Man did it. I don't see anything strange or special there. Other than it's too short. Yeah, I don't think that matters right now, at least, or if it even is gonna matter. Yeah, because you can see they're not... Fuck! I'm terrible at this part, Jesus. Okay. We've got his badge, we got the photo of the samurai, we've got Nick Simon's about to confess something at the post-ceremony stage show. My scanner goes by the name of D Killer. Stolen the night of the murder. Magazine, an article. One tour at AA. Map at the hotel. The guitar case itself, empty. There's some water, but it's only on the top of the lid. Bears Corrida's fingerprints. Bears Andrew's fingerprints. Oh! 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 No fingerprints. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. I fucking did it, yes. With no help either. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I just must have...
Nani?
You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you I was wearing gloves at the time?
Gloves? Why were you wearing gloves at the time?
It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves.
I see.
Yeah, okay, but you know, you didn't tell me what evidence, you just said go through it, which I was kind of doing. I found it on my own, that's all that matters.
Oh, that's right. Seems that we're just wearing gloves to see a crime.
That's strange. You're wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Yeah. I have your proof right here. The wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah! That's what this one. Fine. I got it because of Kia's help. Are you proud now? Valid point. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Her glasses broke, and she has another pair. It's so thick. Thick like a booty. Order, order, order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar. The Broadway guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. Phoenix, no.
I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case...
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Ms. Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you're so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder.
Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
Rubber guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar was inside?
Fucking judge. So you intend to push your theory that the case is not empty? Is that it, right? I want to say something I didn't intend to prove. Same brain cell. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. The judge is great. I have to share it. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? I want to say it's the suicide note, but I want to... Because that's the only thing that makes any sense. I'm going for it. And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one?
Why, Mr. Wright? Why?
Well, fine. Okay, I got it. Maybe it's the person.
Suggestion, when you put the void where your brain is supposed to be. I've never been that, so never bring it out again.
Can a foolishly foolish fool get some love? I know I can't think of one thing. Check is not empty. Hey, hi Tyrol. Tyrol? How you doing? Hi Tyrol. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. Hello, how you doing? Click the wrong icon. I thought there was a suicide note one. Did I not click the suicide report? I thought I did. Okay, I did. I thought I did. So it's not that. Do I talk about a person? I'm not rewinding to check. Oh God, what key? They're not that big, no. But I thought it would have something to do with the suicide note. Wait. She was in the guitar case? No. I fucking hope not. That can't be. What? I honestly don't know what it could have been. That I thought it would have to do with the suicide note, but that doesn't. There's nothing about the suicide note actually here. Destroy the long guitar case. The knife? No, because she didn't open it. Says the article. No. My gut was wrong. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? There's another thing? Like, do I have to pick a person? Like, I pick her mentor because it has to do with this. Is it the knife? Like, the knife doesn't make sense either. Is that other photo? The scene. The Nickel Samurai photo? No, that's one Maya gave us. Well, why would that be in the case, though? Because that was taken right after the murder. That's not it. It can't be that. Because that was taken after the murder. So why would that even be inside the case? You think? That would explain... Ooh. But how do I pick the costume then? There's... Oh my god. Let's try it. Okay. There you go. The costume was in the case. Interesting. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, what are you saying? Are you saying the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What same point would there be to doing something like that? God. The same point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big soup. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Order, order! Looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume could have been that of Mr. Madangard's. Would have been Mr. Madangard's. Always something of the defendants being the victim's room. And inside the guitar case of all places. True. That's a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was the Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare costume, but then if it was a spare costume, where was it? That really does, doesn't it? Oh god. I think it was stolen from Mr. Ungar, but then if it was stolen, he was still wearing it, right? But he said he was napping, so he was out cold the whole time. I think it may have been stolen from Mr. Ungard. Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony... No, that's not... I fucked up. And so, if he didn't have his costume, then Mr. Ungard would be forced to go... I fucked up so bad. I fucked up so bad. Maybe you should be making... for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Madangard did not take his costume off after the award ceremony. He even testified that he took a nap while still wearing his costume. I fucked up. I wasn't thinking. Is that not correct? I still have 3 health, so we're okay. Yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he?
That's what I thought.
Let's try one more time, shall we, Mr. Wright? That's in court. See, and if I hadn't have fucked up, we wouldn't have gotten that little tidbit. Mr. Engard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one.
What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Edgeworth, because he said he would have had to perform the show naked, and Edgeworth's like, maybe we should make you be naked and marched out of this court.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
The victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Korda, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
And therein lies the sticking point.
What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue?
Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was...
What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
So sad. Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
How could that be?
The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai.
He's going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing?
That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. By confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engard.
Yes, I guess that is what it would mean.
But if that's the case...
That's not a confession. That's public disclosure. Miss Andrews?
I can see why you're pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes. Just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan.
Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
I want to bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway.
He was going to ruin him, huh?
It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
What?
So she did this to set up an even more powerful motive.
How do you know what the secret of Mr. Engard is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
Ah, I see.
I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all.
Protect Mr. Engard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand. Oh, the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
But somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Protecting Matt, cross-examination.
Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you?
Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things.
3 things.
A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have known that, Phoenix.
They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember.
May I continue now?
So you would say this need came from the press conference?
Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event at that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt on guard.
And you know of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume.
But I'm sure Mr. Ungard himself didn't know anything about the press conference.
Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference?
Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Ungard does something to hurt or betray you personally?
Why do you ask?
You were the one who helped Mr. Corrido with his press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ungard, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Ungard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan,
is none of our concern.
In any case, this means the defendant had a motive to kill.
Why do I keep doing this to myself?
But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Ungard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ungard?
I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I can find no flaws in what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy.
You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage.
Then what about that button?
The button?
It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
You're talking about this button, correct?
That button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama. Isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony.
I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat.
Thank goodness Mia can still look at me.
With an icy stare, yes.
That's right, say, please add this information to your testimony. Ripped from his costume. Ah, damn.
And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads of the button and the costume were matched up. They were found to fit together perfectly. Or so I heard. I've heard that before too. Why does Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that. It's because I'm prepared and you are not. Ugh. Thought for sure I had her this time. There's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what? But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. And who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engard at any time. Why, then, would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corda planned such an elaborate conference. Ms. Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. Expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. This seems pretty solid. Really? Because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now. But you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief. Now this time, Miss Andrews. Ripped from the costume. They matched perfectly. But if they're ripped, it would have been torn. It would have been a fray. Ugh. I'm saving, because, yeah. Oh, okay, but... the knife. So, it's not the button I want to present the knife. Wrong spot. It's a statement. I'm not sure I follow you. It clearly... God damn it. It was a scarf, but... Fuck, that hit me for 2. I don't have the scarf to present, though. I don't... Ugh, that's what I hate about these games. There's no scarf in evidence. There's the photo, but... There we go. Okay. I had the right spot, wrong evidence. There we go. Okay. 1 health to spare. Jesus Christ. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean it was ripped off of the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means... it's impossible that this victim was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in the fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body. I'm getting ahead. See, my problem is I get ahead of myself. That would be...
What's the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died?
What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve?
What purpose?
We now know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposefully rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean... Does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it?
There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Engard. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. On Guard was set up. By the real killer, of course. Real killer. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer, then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. Killer. Who's in plain frame? Ms. Adrian Andrews. I choose you! You are Mr. Corda's killer. What?
Order, order, order! Mr. Wright. This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All the evidence points to Miss Andrews. Look, how preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he'd already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him, and knew which knife to take, was you. Replace it, the glasses. Then, what about the button that was found in Matsu Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he'd already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. On Guard was the real killer... Marion! Oh my god! There's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. On Guard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him up from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That's also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews.
And I'm gonna lie, that looks kind of hot.
The costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. Yeah, you know what? Shoulder. And that person is you, Ms. Adrian Andrews. Go touch some grass. See, like this whole time I've been, no, Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. It's not as horny. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Ah! And to top it all off, there's this photo. Marion, oh my god. We discover ankle. See, it's a good thing they aren't shown here, because they entered the crime scene. No reason police on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. On Guard. He'd be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time.
Miss Andrews?
30 sinful shoulders. I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Oh, she's pleading the fifth. Ah, Japanifornia strikes again. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination. By allowing a witness to not testify, the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ungard's room... Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood. Alright. That's it. That's when Francesca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. You're bringing everything up at this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something you haven't done? Deathlock. Oh, what's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What's so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof.
Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corridor. Mr. Andrews, you did want to kill Mr. Corridor?
I believe this may lead to incriminating myself, so I'll abstain from answering.
But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify. And the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. At tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get enough guilty verdict today, then...
Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary.
The trial?
Please continue the trial.
What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. Oh, please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
What is it possible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify? Now then, this court is...
Fucking Edgeworth. Yes. It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth? What are you...
Welcome to the fucking show.
Hey, Video Wizard, thanks for the host, appreciate that. It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination, however, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there's one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want you to state that if you have a reason behind your actions. I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify?
Your Honor,
I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out of this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know.
He's sticking his neck out for his ex.
Delicious water.
That's cool, Video.
They are current.
Stardust, if you please.
Witness testimony. Alright, when I found the body. I did that on purpose, actually. A glass of juice. I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked in the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, I thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. so I went to pour him some juice. I realized that he was dead. That's when I knocked the flower vase over.
The hydration. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I know, I was just thirsty. You need to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If I find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left.
I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, let me get your cross-examination.
Okay, here we go, here we go. We're gonna... But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then, who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to reveal to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Well, the command only has a 10 limit use, and I think we already hit it tonight. And then, what did you see next, witness? Telling in the corner, slumped over. Yes, he was just sitting there, with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. It's just me, or did that right there sound like a little odd? Yes, 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 yes! Okay, I gotta... I'm saving because I don't... am I getting ahead of myself? I mean, if she says the knife was there, then that means... I fucked up. See, it's clearly faulty, Your Honor. I'm sorry, but I can't see anything faulty. I fucked up! How? How? No! Oh god! No! 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 Yeah, I think, I should have... No! No! Everyone dead! See, it's a good thing I saved. Slept over and tired looking, okay? Okay, I should have used it here. I should have used it there. At the other ending. Then what did cross your mind? Maybe he smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought.
I see. So you didn't think he was dead at all.
It's gotta be here. Yeah, there we go. I just did it one step too early. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body?
Ah! What is the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone who saw the scene would have immediately thought that here was a dead man. Well, you see... I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink.
Your point is?
Ms. Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No!
It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matagon, is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I swear, he's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
Hey, Cloud. I refuse to testify.
And there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt on God's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt on guard.
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute, real truth.
The absolute real truth? What are you?
Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Ungard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly under the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Madame Guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging onto them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All you know is to get her not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone help me.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say?
Right.
I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. It's the real mastermind. Isn't that obvious? There's no one else who could be except the woman crying over there, right?
Come now. What will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that.
Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure. Mr. Ungar would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me.
That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth.
You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however...
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop. Please stop. And no matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court
The true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews.
The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll...
If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Damn, Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I'll pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I?
Either is fine with me.
Fuck.
I'll talk, but please help me. Nothing matters anymore. Fuck. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using this nickel samurai costume.
Wait, what was the inconvenience? Stab the body? With a knife? Why'd you do that?
Isn't it obvious? They pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth.
Killer's Matt, that scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again. Just like last time.
Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime.
What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
That's right. Please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
Fuck, now I'm all turned upside down.
But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth or you say that you did not know he was dead?
He had a scarf tied around his neck. That scarf is a part of the gem and ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up. I went to pour the juice. Once he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan.
What is this plan you had? What are you talking about, video?
I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest point to the world.
Weakest weak point.
To stop one and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forgive some forged evidence and pin this crime on Matt.
So the forged piece of evidence were the knife and the button.
First thing that came to mind was to plant the knife.
Oh, so you get the knife, correct?
The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. Slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. Then I stabbed one's body with the knife and ripped off the button.
Stabbed the victim with that knife.
It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed one's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I use the button somehow, I can make Matt look even more suspect.
So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ungod's Akama.
Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that way smoothly, do they?
Inconvenience?
There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway.
I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta.
There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth.
That's Miss Oldbag for you.
I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for the certain weekly tabloid once. so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again.
You had prepared that costume, weren't you?
Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony.
You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct?
Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He's going to disclose Matt's biggest secret there.
And what is this secret?
That, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. He's very careful not to leave his fingerprints when I open the guitar case. I was very careful not to. So he did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think you've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Ungod's room and planted the button. You planted the button?
Into Matsukama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
But my word. What does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt on guard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk.
Francisca, huh?
Francisca. She said I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. But if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
What is this witness? What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. But wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It is pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Today's trial. It's over. And I didn't win an acquittal.
Witness, would you mind if I asked you something?
Edgeworth? What is it?
Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now.
What exactly is it?
What is it?
Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day.
The room? That day?
Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him.
You found that card next to the victim's body.
I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right?
Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as the clues to this case, I don't see why... Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly, yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time.
I didn't mean to. What is this all about?
I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? This is a Yu-Gi-Oh player. To be continued.